my name is Ashley Scher. I'm the founder and CEO of ShareLove.Fund, and now we are in week 8 of the registered prenatal yoga teacher training. I have a helper who is a resident expert in downward dog, and the pose that we're going to discuss today is reverse warrior. So reverse warrior, what we have as a little review from our YTT-200, we have some distraction, but anyway, front leg, right angle, back leg straight, 45, your foot is at a 45-degree angle, back arm hangs down, the arm of the bent leg goes to the ceiling, lowering the shoulder, soft gaze, looking over the fingertips. Like this. Okay, so let's do that on the other side just to get the feel. And we are live, so life happens, and I have an obstacle, but I am resolved to focus. Okay, so right leg bent, or it doesn't matter, the opposite leg at a right angle, back leg straight, foot at a 45-degree angle, lift one arm up, gaze at the fingertips, let the back arm drop down, and soften the shoulder. I'm just going to start this class with a slight review. Forgive me, but I'm going to have my notes so I say the right things. So basically, week 1 was an introduction to welcome everyone. A lot of people, some people have no yoga experience. They're pregnant and just want to try something new and have a sense of community, and that's great. So the first class was, just saying everyone can get something out of this, and whether or not you're actually going to use your teaching degree to teach. The second class was about the Sun Salutation A, and that's really our anchor. That's a framework of 12 postures. 9 of them are repeated, so it's just 9 unique postures, but we do it in a sequence with some repeated, so it's 12 total. And that is really, we can think of that as like the walls of a house. And then as we learn different poses as yoga teachers, we can add in different poses in that Sun Salutation framework to sort of switch it up. As a yoga teacher, you don't have to use that framework, but we are a youth and women's empowerment yoga school. We train high school kids and incarcerated women, and we have a method that literally anybody who wants to can be a yoga teacher. Even if you have limited mobility, could be a yoga teacher from a wheelchair. What our method is no tests and quizzes and based on repetition, and we have 100% success rate. I'm committed to my clients, and if somebody really wants to be a yoga teacher, I'm heavily invested. I believe I can make anybody who wants to be a yoga teacher a good yoga teacher. So that's my commitment to you. So anyway, so this course is based on repetition. So week 3, we started our 45 key poses. Week 3 is easy seat, how I am now. Week 4 was cat-cow. Just a brief review, and sorry, I'm getting a lot of an amorous puppy here. So we have cat with the back up, cow down. And we talked about in prenatal, we're not supposed to twist, but we can work on spinal flexibility like this. Week 4, we really just concentrate on mountain pose. It seems really simple, but you can work a lot of muscles here. And for busy people who want to feel stronger but just don't have time, an engaged mountain pose is something you can do in line at the grocery store. And so we talked about how it's not just standing here, whamby-pamby. You can really work the glutes, really pull out the thighs and in On the back, ground the feet like monkey hands. The next week, week 6, is standing forward fold. Week 7, our last class. Oh, wow. Okay, there's a little slobber, so that is occupational hazard. Is Warrior 2. We talked about how to reduce tension in our shoulders. We can lift the arms up and then back down. Soft gaze over the fingertips on one side. Soft gaze on the fingertips on the other side to keep it straight. Let's just now do it on the other side, because the big advantage we have with yoga is that we can be symmetrical and work both sides of our body. So in case you're following along with this, we'll lower our shoulders again. Soft gaze over the fingertips. We did in the last class our standard sun salutation, and then we added in Warrior 2. And now we're going to talk about reverse warrior. And we did that. We had a sneak peek at that in our last class, but basically it works really nicely from Warrior 2. From Warrior 2, you can keep the front knee bent and then just look up. Just like a nice little stretch. And it is prenatal safe because you're not twisting. We talked about the headlights and the belly button staying forward. And then we can do reverse warrior on the other side, which works nicely from Warrior 2. And we just follow the fingertips up, minding that our shoulders down. And this is something that can integrate nicely into the sun salutation. So that brings us up to date. And another little special treat today is our method of yoga is that you don't need any props, and everything that you need is inside of you. However, this is a teacher training, and our clients expect to learn something new every day and make it worth their time, and we want to make it worth your time too. So a lot of teachers are looking for new and creative ways to use props. So I introduced this belt, and I'm not trying to sell any products or anything like that. I do want to give a shout out to Superdry, which has made my nifty leggings. You don't need them to do yoga, and it doesn't enhance your performance, but they are super comfortable, and I'm appreciative of all the individuals and corporations who have helped fund our outreach and our incarcerated women's program so that we can provide vocational training in the form of a Yoga Alliance accredited degree so that women, when they are released, they can have a livelihood should they need it that respects their mind, body, and soul. For everyone who has signed up and paid for this course on Teachable, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. You, with your course fee, you are paying for yourself, as well as a degree for an incarcerated woman. I don't take a salary. I'm the founder and CEO. This is my philanthropy that I started during COVID when I just saw that people really needed jobs, and they needed a job that actually improved their mental health while they were doing it. So many of our careers take a toll on our mental health, and so I thought, what if your actual work was improving your mental health? And we get that in service to others, and I've certainly got that in serving you. So without further ado, we'll integrate this. One thing I want to say right off the bat, when I teach clients, I say, I bring my, I guess it's called like a yoga belt or band, and most people say, oh, I already have that, I have a stretchy band. So it's different. This doesn't stretch, and it's a little different. So maybe for your goal, a stretchy band is better. Maybe this is better, but it works differently. So this can, sometimes we can use it to build our biceps because it gives you a resistance. So if this was a stretchy band, it would just stretch. But this is something that we can use to build strength. So these are all tools in our tool belt, and you can also just use a regular belt and things like that. So really, the things in life that we need are air and sleep and water, and nobody gets paid off of that, and nobody tells us that enough. But you don't need gadgets and gizmos. You need some space, and well, I'm not going to tell you what you need. You know that best. Okay, so let's just take a moment and center ourselves, and we'll take a few breaths together. So we'll breathe in through our nose and out through our mouth. And you can think of your breath as a circle or a figure eight. And the idea is to focus on smoothing it out and trying to make your breath feel continuous, that there's no start or end. It just is. As prenatal yoga teachers in this yoga teacher training, we don't want to tell our prenatal clients to restrict their breath. People need to breathe freely, but we can encourage things like saying a deep breath or continuous breath, or try to breathe a little more in this time, and increase your breath till you find your comfortable lung capacity. So we can encourage people to find their own personal boundaries of breath and lung capacity and flexibility without imposing extraneous milestones. Okay, let's take a few more breaths together. Now, while you're breathing, we can get an added benefit, and I'm sorry for my little friends here. So this is August. He was born in August, and so his birthday is in August, so it's easy to remember. So this is double pigeon, and double pigeon is a hip opener, and this is an alternative to easy seat, and we can really experience the benefits of this after giving it some time for our hips to settle in. So while we breathe, let's just see if we can drop into this. So I have really high, tight hips, so this is why, this is why my knee is up. Here, August, come here. You can flex your foot and not put weight on your actual knee, and try to have these two legs line up, stacked. And we'll just hang out here for a couple minutes and really just try to open up those hips. Thinking about our breath as a circle. Or a figure eight. If it feels good to kind of move into it deeply, you can have your hands up or down. Sometimes I like up because it reminds me to roll the shoulders back. And it's not hard to find a lot of noise and a lot of information. We live in an information overload kind of situation, which is great. We can fact find in an instant. So sometimes when we come to a class, it's actually just an opportunity to set aside some space for silence. So we can make space in our body through our breath, and we can make space in our mind through silence. We can start to stretch our rib cage by rainbowing our arms to the side. And inhale and rainbow the arms to the other side. Seeing if you feel a difference in the two sides. You can lean forward and back and put a little pressure on your leg as long as it's not sharp shooting pain. And feel if it's dropped a little bit. It takes time to increase flexibility. A lot of people say to me, I want to be a pretzel, and I tell them anyone can, but it is really boring for a lot of people and it takes time. So it's great if maybe you're on the phone or reading a book or marking up papers. If you're a school teacher, you can be in a pose like double pigeon and do some work, and that way you're using your time productively and you're also affording yourself an opportunity to stretch, because the hips are stubborn and there's a lot going on in pregnancy with the hips, and it just takes a lot of repetition. They do say that easy come, easy go. So the good thing I find about yoga is it takes a long time sometimes to see results, and results are subtle, but then I find that they really stay with us. So it can be lasting, sustainable increase in mobility. We'll inhale, lift our arms up, and we'll do an elbow stretch to one side, elbow stretch to the other side. And here we'll do this stretch if it works for you to touch your hands together behind you, or we don't need to get fancy. You can just put one arm behind you and hold your elbow for a little bit. Kind of rock back and forth and see if you can get a little bit deeper into this double pigeon. If you feel uncomfortable and your body is telling you to move around, please listen to your body. Nothing here shall be construed as medical advice. If you have a medical question, please see a doctor. Use your own good judgment to know when to push yourself and when to not. If something is not working for you in this class, please modify. It's all of our responsibilities to take care of our own safety, and when we're not sure how to do that, then we need to seek help from a qualified professional. I'm a yoga teacher and a lawyer by trade. I'm not a doctor, and people need to take responsibility for keeping themselves safe. I make best efforts to introduce exercises that work for the general public, but everybody is unique. We're going to shake this out, and then either touch the hands to the back behind you, or you don't have to get fancy. You can just give a slight tug on your elbow. You can rock forward and back and let the knee drop down a bit. This is also a precursor that can help folks get into lotus pose later. Not in this class today. But it just really opens up those hips. We'll shake it out, and we'll shake out the legs. Sometimes with prenatal, circulation is a problem. Feet fall asleep or feet feel cold. So feel free to give those feet a little loving squeeze. Tap them around. And if it feels all right with you, we'll do double pigeon on the other side. So we'll make these two legs stacked on top of each other. And we'll just notice the difference between the two sides. Is one hip tighter than the other? We'll think about evenly grounding our sits bones into the mat. And now we're going to take a deep dive into pelvic flexibility here. Going forward and back. And we did this a little in the last class, but we'll do a little hula. Now we're not twisting. We need to keep our hips and our belly button forward. But we can do a little hula hoop. Just to kind of loosen up a little Jiffy Lube. And see how that feels. In our fourth class, we did cat-cow, and we can touch on that theme in this pose. Thrusting forward, bending the spine. And we'll just hang out here and see if this leg decides to drop down or not. And trying to really just open up those hips. So you might be sore tomorrow from this. These subtle things sometimes do have a way to get us. So definitely drink lots of water by having an Epsom salt bath, drinking water and stretching that can break up the lactic acid and prevent soreness. So let's walk our hands forward. If you have a bit of a belly, then don't put pressure on your belly, so stop before that happens. If this feels like too much tension on your wrists or arms, feel free to grab a pillow or blanket or bolster to lean on. But we're just gonna try to take some breaths here and release like a forward fold in double pigeon. You can think of your breath like a circle or a figure eight, no start or end, just breathing continuously. And feel if you've kind of sunk into it a little bit. I find after 90 seconds, the body sort of says, okay, fine, have it your way, we'll stretch. Sorry, I just got a call, it's live on YouTube, so life happens. So here, we'll continue with the double pigeon. And we were walking our hands forward and really falling into it. Keeping our breath continuous. coming up. And now let's really stretch our neck. So you can just use gravity, or if it feels good, you can put a little pressure. And just kind of, I like to think of it as a clock. So, you know, maybe now my head is at 3 o'clock, and then it's going to 2 o'clock and 1 o'clock and 12 o'clock, and just like stretching each point along the way. You can drop the shoulder to get a little deeper of a stretch. You can roll it one way and another way. Taking a deep breath, and our pose of this week, Reverse Warrior, in a lot of ways it's this, right? So this could be thought of as seated Reverse Warrior. We get a little deeper, stretch this way. And we'll try that on the other hand side. Seated Reverse Warrior, so to speak. And a little deeper. Keeping in mind that we want the back to be straight as if it was against a wall. So not forward, just back. And up. So we'll try those cat-cows again. And in doing that, we get a little deeper into this hip stretch. So when we lean back, we might feel it more on our bottom leg, the stretch, and when we lean forward, we might feel the stretch more in our hip that's on top. We can kind of go around like a hula hoop and play around with that. Let's breathe in and do some little old-fashioned arm circles. As women, often we're fighting the bye-bye arm, as they call it, and the good old-fashioned Jane Fonda workout tips are pretty timeless. This might be yoga, but we still have the opportunity to integrate all that we've learned from fitness. Let's stretch our arm this way, dropping our shoulder down. You can give yourself a pat on the back for taking the time to honor your body. We'll stretch our shoulders again and stretch the other side. Giving yourself a pat on the back. And stretch it again. So in one of the previous classes, we sort of did a backstroke. And this can feel really good, especially when you're pregnant and you feel like there's no space and just a lot of tightness. Lift up and back, and it's not twisting, it's just creating space. You can breathe in and take a hold of one wrist and sort of imagine we're pointing to the wall. Really stretching, trying to not lean forward, but really stretching. And with an inhale, we can grab a hold of the other wrist, kind of point to that wall, not leaning forward, just stretching. If your feet are starting to fall asleep, then please move. I'm gonna hold this pose for the folks it's working out for, because it's a great way to get deep into the hips. And there's so much going on with the hips with prenatal. We can't twist our torso, but we can twist our head. So I invite you to look at one wall and take a breath, and to look at the other wall and take a breath. Lean our neck to one side, drop the shoulder, and we'll take 3 breaths here. lift up, and on the other side. Shaking out the shoulder. And we'll take 3 breaths here. Now let's shake out the legs. We'll bring some back the circulation. Shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. And we can start to sort of pedal out the feet, walk them out a little bit, create circulation. If you need to get up to walk around and get more circulation, you can. Self-massage really goes a long way. You can massage those calves. We can sit back here and just kind of lay on our back and windshield wiper our legs to really stretch out all that good work we did in the hips. Now we're not going to twist our torso, so we're going to keep our hips pointed to the ceiling. Imagine your belly button and hips are lasers, and you want those lasers staying pointed to the ceiling. So to the extent these hips don't move, you can kind of see if how far you can let your knees fall to one side, just to sort of stretch in the opposite way what we just stretched with double pigeon, as a way to reward your body for its efforts in double pigeon, and also to prevent soreness. So let's stay here for a minute and breathe. With prenatal, we don't want to spend too long on our back. So depending on how pregnant you are, if you feel that the urge to move, then that's probably your body telling you that you need to move around to be safe. So I encourage you to do so. And to the extent it feels good to you, let's spend a little longer here. If you want a little deeper of a stretch, you can take a foot and put it on your knee. And I'm keeping my hands on my hips just to make sure these hips stay forward facing. The idea is that we're stretching this part of our leg, our quad, and the point is not to stretch, not to twist our torso. We want our back and our sits bones firmly grounded to the mat, and we're just stretching this quad and how it relates to the hip. While we breathe in this position, you can think about your breath again as a circle or an infinity sign with no start or end, just continuous. And kind of with each breath, sort of visualize that if it serves you, and try to smooth it out. Like where in your circle or where in your infinity sign is there like a little break? And how can you smooth it out? When you're ready, we can bring the knees together and, or the knees upright. Really Now put your chin into your chest and then slowly roll your head back down, trying to feel the connection between your mat and your neck. This may be a very aspirational goal. It certainly is for me. But the idea is that our spine could be so long and connected to the mat from our tailbone to the top of our neck, and trying to use gravity to lengthen our spine. We can bring our knees in one at a time to kind of loosen up those hips. And we'll bring it over to the other side, just letting it drop. Again, we want our hips facing the ceiling. We don't want to do a torso twist. We're trying to just stretch this thigh. If it feels good to put a little added weight, go for it, but just be careful that your back is firmly on the mat. So for me, I'm not that flexible there. So I think if I was pregnant, it would be a little bit of a danger. If I put my leg here, I think I would shift too much to the side. So I'm not going to do that, at least not until the muscles relax a little bit, and that I can do it safely. So just think about that. If your hips are not facing the ceiling, then, take it easy. And just, try to ask yourself, what am I holding on to? What if I just let go? Am I really this tight here, or am I holding back? Some of our inflexibility is psychological, and a lot of it, most of it is not, so definitely be safe. The other thing that I like to tell people about flexibility, because a lot of people, they want to be so flexible and they get embarrassed or, don't like that they're not flexible. And I want to remind everyone that inflexibility is also protecting you. Like if your neck was so flexible, your head could spin around, then you would be seriously injured. So feeling these restrictions keeps us from dislocating our joints. So everything has a good side and a bad side kind of thing. We can, everything, if we want to think positively about everything, we can see everything as serving a purpose. So your inflexibility, if you happen to believe that you're not flexible, that's a protective element of your body, keeping you from dislocating a joint. So that's a positive way to think about it. In a handstand workshop, one of my students was having sort of like a fear factor to do a handstand, and we talked about how being apprehensive about things is actually a protective factor. So we're hardwired to sort of tell ourselves, maybe going upside down could be dangerous, or maybe standing so close to the end of the bridge could be dangerous, or maybe running too fast could be dangerous. So sometimes if we don't just like jump into something, we don't need to feel bad about that. We can sort of thank ourselves for saying, you know what, maybe that caution has protected us in the past. So it's really, there's two ways to sort of look. There's many ways to look at everything. So here, we'll just let this drop down for another minute. Can have our arms long, or cactus arms, or really reach up and stretch. Grounding our shoulders to the mat. Tilting our head from side to side. Trying to relax the neck. Doing a little self-massage if that serves you. You can also massage your jaw muscles, because sometimes we hold tension in our jaw. And little self-massage of the temples. Being pregnant can be a very anxious time, and so sometimes a little manual massage is a way to provide immediate relief for some of the stresses. We'll bring our knees to chest, and we've been on our back for maybe all the time that a pregnant person should be on their back, so we'll come to the side. And in doing this, we'll elongate and bring our hand out for stability. And really just almost like a Tadasana on the side. We're going to engage our core, engage our glutes, and sort of build some strength here. So we can lift our leg forward and up. We'll just do this 10 times. Now this is helpful because we're really working our abs and our back, and this can, while allowing our neck to relax and avoid strain. And when we're pregnant, sometimes we're off balance, so sometimes working the leg muscles, it's hard in a standing pose. So this is a way that you can kind of relax your body and isolate. But you're not just working your leg here, you're really working your back and your abs, and this can also help alleviate back injury and stuff like this in the pregnancy. So I'm gonna stop the talking and start counting so I get the 10 right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm going to demonstrate the other side by putting my back to you, so I apologize, but the purpose is that for pregnancy and when you're teaching prenatal, and especially when you're teaching third trimester prenatal clients, it's really hard for them to go up and down and up and down. So if you can kind of keep all the laying down exercises together and seated ones together, it makes it easier. So we're just gonna kind of roll over like you would do if it was your third trimester, and we'll go on our back, and we'll make everything long and strong, like a sideways Tadasana. And we'll do the 10 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We'll bring it all in. Give ourselves a little hug, widening our legs, tucking the chin in, so we really get to feel the benefits of a long neck. We'll come into happy baby. Here we'll massage the back, really exaggerating the turns of the happy baby. Really just kind of stretch that to the side. Now, this is not a twist because we're all contained. We're not torquing the chest. We're just taking all of it, like Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall, like all of it is over to one side. And all of it is over to the other side. And this is a way to kind of massage what's going on in the back, using gravity. And the great thing about self-massage techniques are that you can do it anytime without anyone. So here in Happy Baby, the idea is that we want to kind of point your tailbone down. We're stretching the hamstrings, But like, it's not this is not the point. The point is how we want to really try to keep the spine long. And then within the context of keeping the spine long, then you can see, okay, can I bring my legs here? Maybe we're just doing this today. Maybe we're just doing a half happy baby. But the idea is trying to keep the spine long. And we see how it goes. It takes some time to get into the stretches, so we're just gonna focus on that figure 8 breathing. And we're just gonna enjoy the space of some silence. If this feels like too much time on your back, I invite you to come to your side. And you always have the option of child's pose as a go-to pose anytime that you need it. Here, we're going to put a leg down and the other leg and kind of come up to bridge, shimmying our shoulders back, moving a little forward and down. Then we can experience cat a little bit and roll up. So we're going to come back up so we're not on our back too long. And we're going to do downward puppy. So downward puppy is sort of a cross between child's pose, which feels good with the legs apart for prenatal. It's a cross between that and downward dog. So downward puppy is on our knees. Our tush is up. You can widen your legs. And I like downward puppy for prenatal because there's space for the stomach. Sometimes even child's pose can feel a little cramped. If you want more space, you can use a block or a bolster for your head. And let's just walk our fingertips forward. Try to relax our shoulders. We'll keep our glutes in the air. And feel the stretch into your armpits. And a nice long spine. We'll stay here for a while, thinking about the breath like a circle or a figure 8. We'll come up to table. And here, table has a flat back. You can have your toes underneath you if that feels good for stability, or down. We'll do some cat-cows. This is really good for spinal flexibility, and even if you're pregnant, you can bend this way, you just can't do the torque. I know I say that a lot, but I feel like that's the most important thing to learn from this prenatal teacher training, is just kind of what not to do, and then the stuff to do. You can use your creativity and inspiration. Here we'll kind of stretch it out, leaning into all those tight parts. We'll come down to Thunderbolt, relaxing our shoulders, and doing that same kind of concept of cat-cow for the spinal flexibility. And here, when we do cat, you can feel maybe the stretch in your thighs, and even the stretch in your knees. Now, if this hurts your knees, don't do it. Please don't do anything that hurts. The idea is that we are supposed to stretch and not injure ourselves. So we will continue doing the cat-cow, and we can kind of move around in it, like we talked about the hula hoop, and really loosen up the hips. And lean back and lean forward. This is something that we can do when reading a book or doing work, or if you can have your laptop at the floor. You can sit in this position, and that just sort of switches it up. We're so often in a chair, and that makes the hamstrings really tight. So we will try to find a moment of silence in this posture. We'll inhale, our arms up, and exhale down. So this brings us to about halfway point in our class. And now I would like to introduce the yoga belt as a way to get not only a stretch, but also build strength. So here, what we can do is we can start in cobbler's pose. And what I'd like to do in cobbler's pose is open up the feet as if they're a book and try to read the feet. Oh, what's in this book? And we just will open that up like that. And it's really nice to have silence. And so we're gonna just take a few breaths like this. I'm going to invite you to take a deep breath in and stretch out your leg. So we're in half cobbler, and we'll use, if you don't have a band, you can use a belt. And actually I will, well, I guess this is YouTube, so you can pause and rewind. So you're empowered that way. So yeah, any sort of belt will work. Leather would stretch more than canvas. But you know, anything can work. Also, if you have a yoga wheel, this is also something that it does the same concept. So basically, these plastic stretchy bands, they don't build muscle because they'll just continue to stretch until they break. But if you want something where you're stretching, but you're also have the resistance to work your biceps, then something firm like this or the band will work. So anyway, so this is also helpful, having the resistance. It helps us here. I'll go this way so you can see. It helps us like really get our back straight and aligned. And so we'll just stretch like this for a few minutes. You can play around with that, like leaning back and leaning forward and seeing how that feels. So this is, you know, can be a stretch in your hamstring, but it's also really working the biceps. Because when you feel strong and you build muscle, that's also a way to feel in control and empowered. And it's also a way to really kind of work out some of that stress and anxiety that you might have while you're pregnant. When we get muscle fatigue, sometimes we sleep better at night, and we get to release some of that negative energy. And we can go put it on the other side. And I'm going to sort of explore the sights and sounds in my surroundings and try to make a conscious effort to focus and quiet the mind. And make deliberate decisions. They say that we cannot control the actions of others, but we can control our reaction to them. And sometimes when people do insensitive things, instead of reacting to that by being hurt or upset, we can use that as an opportunity to understand the true colors of that person, and then to make calculated decisions to maybe spend less time with them and invest less of ourselves in them. So if we look at maybe some of the negative behaviors that we experience around us as an opportunity to make wiser decisions, then we're really lucky that those people have revealed that aspect about themselves to us. So everything really can be a lesson learned, and we can look at life that there are no mistakes, there's just lessons. And when people do hurtful things, we can take it as a blessing that they weren't so sly as to hide who they really are, and we can take it as a blessing that that we got some insight into their character. It's important while you're pregnant to surround yourself with positivity, because your body is going through a lot, and you are nurturing another entity, and it's nice if society kind of follows up with that and nurtures you right back. So I hope that you find this RPYT, Registered Prenatal Yoga Teacher Training, nurturing, and we really support you in your journey. If it feels good, you can lean into this a little more. And then you can shake it out a little bit. So now we haven't really done much movement. So now we're going to do the sun salutation A as a review. I try to do it each class. And we'll do it as a review, but we're going to add in warrior 2 and reverse warrior. So last week's pose and this week's pose as just like a review. So, so sun salutation A, 12 positions, 9 of them are unique. Some of them repeat. So we start in Tadasana, we ground our feet. We talked about in the other class, Peter Igavello, our lead trainer, gave us a trick. He said, if you don't know how far apart to put your feet, you can put your fists together like this and measure. Maybe for some of you, you are experienced instructors and you don't need to know that, but maybe it's helpful to your students. Some people have a harder time with body awareness, and so sometimes having a physical marker that they can't lose, it's right on their hands, sometimes that could really help them. You'll find in our courses that there's a lot of repetition, and our technique is that you'll never have to really look at papers and study anything, because you'll learn kinetically by doing through repetition, and this is why our program has been so successful in correctional facilities and also for high school students to graduate from high school with a vocational training degree. So really anybody can become a yoga teacher. They just need to want to do it and put in the hours for repetition. So, so we start in Tadasana and we roll out these thighs, engage our glutes. Now, this is an opportunity to activate our stomach muscles and also our back muscles. This is important because in pregnancy, we're carrying an extra load. So if we really build up our back stomach, that can help carry it. And believe it or not, we're also strengthening our pelvic floor by squeezing, rolling our thighs out, but squeezing it together. So in Tadasana, we'll inhale, upward salute, keeping our shoulders down. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half bend. Exhale, plank. Now knees, chest, chin, we're not really going to do because it's not totally prenatal safe. So we're just gonna go up into up dog, where we really work those back muscles. From up dog, we'll push back into down dog. Then we're gonna walk our feet up, forward fold, half forward fold, upward salute, Tadasana. Now, that was just the regular sun salutation. So now we will add in last week's warrior 2, and then we'll do it again, and we'll add in warrior 2 and reverse warrior. Tadasana. Inhale, upward salute. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale, plank. Skipping knees, chest, and chin, we come up to up dog. Exhale, down dog. Lift your left leg up into your chest through your hands, sort of in a lunge, and inhale, warrior 2. Adjust by rolling your shoulders back. Look over the tips of your fingers on each side. Are your hands parallel? Is your knee a right 90-degree angle? From warrior 2, we can one kneel back down to lunge, back to plank, back to down dog. From down dog, we can walk our feet forward. Then we are in forward fold, half bend, inhale to upward salute, and back to Tadasana. So now we will do the sun salutation on adding in warrior 2, but on the other side. Inhale, arms up to upward salute. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half bend. Exhale, you can walk, step your feet back into plank. From plank, we'll go into up dog. And from up dog, we go into down dog. From down dog, you can bring your right leg in, step it through to lunge, and we'll do warrior two on the other side. Keeping a right angle, we adjust the shoulders, looking over the fingertips on each side to make sure it's parallel. Windmill the arms back to lunge. We'll come back to plank, then down dog, then walking the feet up to forward fold, half forward fold, bending the knees. Inhale, arms up to upward salute, and exhale to Tadasana. So now we have reviewed the sun salutation one time, and then we reviewed last week, which was the sun salutation plus adding in warrior two. So now let's add in reverse warrior. So we'll, it's like that memory game where you just keep on adding stuff. Okay, inhale, arms up, upward salute. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale, walk your feet back to plank. From plank, we skip knees, chest, chin. We go to up dog. From up dog, go to down dog. Then inhale, bring your left leg up and through your hands to a lunge. Have your back foot go 45-degree angle and come up to warrior two. In warrior two, we'll make an adjustment, checking over our fingertips, and inhale, bringing our hand up and feeling a stretch. Reverse warrior, the pose of this week. This is how you can fit in reverse warrior into a sun salutation, sort of like learning how to cook chicken, and then we add a spice each week. So reverse warrior, your eyes look up to the tips of your fingertips. Reverse warrior is like our turmeric or our spice of the week, spicing up our sun salutation. We'll windmill our arms back to lunge. Exhale, back to plank. Down dog. Walking our feet to the front of the mat, forward fold, half forward fold. Inhale, arms up, and exhale, arms down. So now let's do that on the other side just to cement it in. So we have, we're in Tadasana. Inhale, arms up to upward salute, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale to plank. From plank, we skip knees, chest, chin, and we come to up dog. From up dog, we push through to down dog. Bringing our right knee in, we bring it through our hands, and now we have lunge. With an inhale and strong abs, and our foot 45 degrees angle, and this right angle, we come to warrior two, our pose of last week. We make an adjustment to make sure our shoulders are down and gaze over the fingertips to make sure our arms are level and straight. Keeping our front leg bent, we inhale, drop our shoulder, and look up to the fingertips. Reverse warrior, the pose of this week. Reverse warrior. Exhale, we windmill our hands down. We come back to plank. Back to downward dog. Walking our feet to the front. Forward fold. Half forward fold. Inhale, arms up to upward salute. And exhale, arms down. So congratulations. We just spiced up our sun salutation with two poses, which is awesome. We've also learned easy seat and cat-cow, and Tadasana, and I think that is, you know, I don't know. It's all kind of hard to remember after after that. I'm just gonna look at my cheat sheet just to so yeah, we did oh, and we also did forward fold. So we did easy seat, cat cow, Tadasana, forward fold, warrior two, reverse warrior, and the sun salutation. So that's awesome. We have 8 classes under our belt, and so that's a pretty good knowledge if you needed to do a self practice. That's a really good chunk of information, and you can really start practicing and applying what you know with that. We're going to now talk about this armband, band in terms of how it can help our arms. So one of the things about this band, this belt not being stretchy, is that it can keep an equal distance. So if we wanted to do a stretch and really keep our arms a certain distance away, this works the muscles on the back side. So this is a way that these stretches we did, and I'm just gonna be a little careful. This has a piece of metal in it, so I think it's better to double it so it's not hanging, or quadruple it. So in the beginning of class, we did double pigeon, which we don't need to keep doing. It's good to kind of switch it up. We can go into cobbler, or actually let's do a straddle and switch it up here. So in the beginning of class, when we're in double pigeon, went to the side and the other side. If you have something that doesn't give, I mean, even you could even use like a block and squeeze it. If you squeeze it, that will work the inside of the muscles. It's a little bit different, but you're still building strength. So whether you're pushing in or pulling out, you're building strength. Pushing in is working the inner muscles, and then pushing out is working the outer muscles. So either way, we're building strength. So grab something you can, that's not going to stretch. My wheel is rolling away. And we can build strength while we stretch. You can bring your knees to your chest. If you have a big, if you're further along in your pregnancy, you can widen the knees. And we can use a band to sort of stretch, like help with the forward fold. And what I like to do is kind of pedal out the feet and walk them around, because we have sometimes more or less tension on one side than the other. So you can kind of try to bring one elbow down and then the other. Again, this is not twisting. This is more like the rainbow kind of motion we did before. So that's safe. What we don't want to do is imagine if my belly button was going like we don't want to be a sprinkler. But we'll use this to kind of really get those nooks and crannies, stretching the lower back. There is a lot of lower back tension. And sometimes being pregnant sometimes it's not necessarily creating new issues, but it's exasperating old ones. So if we really stretch and get the release, then there's nothing to exasperate. So we'll just stay here for a little bit to get the full benefit of the stretch. So depending on your comfort level, one of the things that's nice about having a belt is you don't need to be able to hold your toes to get that resistance. So you can adjust the length as you need, but the idea is that we're stretching this muscle here. So kind of like play around with it till you get that. That feels good, and focus on that concept of that continuous breath. And we'll have a little silent meditation in the stretch. You can shimmy it around. By having one side down and one side up, it really pulls on sort of how the lower back is connected to the sit bones. And we'll do the other side after, but we'll just see how deep we can get into this on this side first. You can think of your breath as a circle or the figure 8 without a beginning or an end, just fluidly moving. You can adjust on the belt to continue to deepen your stretch. You may feel it in your hamstrings. You might even feel it in your calves. You're going to feel it in the place where it's tightest on you. Really exaggerate, like pushing one leg forward, not twisting, but just kind of sliding, like almost like cross-country skiing. And taking a deep breath and dropping into it. And not to be afraid of silence or holding poses. You know, we can get noise and information much more easily than we can get space and peace and silence. So it's really a trick to get comfortable with our own thoughts. So often being busy has become a badge of honor. Oh, I'm so busy, I'm so busy. And a lot of this is just reality, that it takes 2 incomes to make it and things like this. And parents have an increasing role in sort of child development and things like that. So some of it, you know, we really can't avoid. The pace of society has increased so much. But some of this busyness is just avoidance for basically like a fear of being still or a fear of our own thoughts. So getting comfortable with our own thoughts is really empowering, because then when you do take on volunteer activities or work projects, when you do take those on, you'll know you're taking them on because they're serving you in some way, not because you are uncomfortable with your own thoughts. So I encourage everyone to get comfortable with their own thoughts. It's empowering. I'm going to shake this out, and we're going to go and pedal that out on the other side. And I'm going to switch sides too, so because my neck is looking at the camera on one side, so I want to be balanced in that way too. And if you are looking at your phone on one side, I encourage you to switch sides too, so you don't get soreness on your neck. So we really worked this side, so now we're going to work this side. And we're just going to stretch this area back here. This will be our main final activity, and then we'll do some relaxation after. But we really want to work on evenness. So here we're building muscle, and it's like a forward fold stretch, but we're really also just trying to lengthen the connection between the back side here on our right side, our right back side. If you don't need the belt, that's okay too. And try to just relax the neck, thinking about the fluidity of the breath like a circle or an infinity sign with no start or end. And just concentrate on your breath going in and out. And with each breath, trying to connect it to the breath before and the breath after, like a long chain of breaths with no seam, no start or end, just being. With each breath, you can try to sink into a little bit deeper, maybe put an elbow down on the leg. Really trying to feel where it's tight and breathing into those tight spots. Knowing that with flexibility, we can reduce injury, and with letting go, we can sleep better. Sometimes we're even less hungry. Sometimes all the nervousness makes us think we want things that we don't really need. And in silence, the truth can be revealed. We can shimmy ourselves to have a straight spine, and now really focus on the evenness. We use the rope to really work one side or the other, like we're cross-country skiing. And now we can really breathe in and enjoy the symmetry. If you want to bend your knees and widen them to make room for the belly, feel free. And now we just really enjoy the benefits on both sides. The hamstrings, the back, especially the back. The lower back, this is a great lower back stretch. If the belly feels too cramped, that's why sometimes the rope can help, because you can pull your feet back when reaching maybe cramps the belly. And actually we'll end here. We'll just take a little deeper restorative pose, and we'll just kind of non-traditionally end in this stretch and just really maximize the benefits, because stretching takes a long time and we have the opportunity to work on it together here. If you have things that you want to work on, please comment on Teachable, and we love addressing your comments in the classes. And so we've gotten a lot of comments, make me a pretzel. So we are working on it, and if you have a different goal, we'd love to hear about it. And it really inspires us to get feedback from our students, and I learned so much from each of our students, so thank you for teaching me. It's a two-way street, so I'm happy to share what has worked for me and allow you to build on that. And I love hearing feedback of what people are seeking, because it helps me to be the best teacher that I can be in serving your needs. Thank you. So here, we'll take a few final breaths like this. What's nice is after being in a stretch for a while, your body stops giving the sensation of like, help, you're stretching, and you can really get deep into it. Okay, we'll shake it out. And thank you so much for sharing your time with me today. I know you guys have a choice with teacher trainings, and we feel blessed to be on this journey with each and every one of our students. May the light in me be the light in you. Namaste, and have a blessed day. Thank you.